Josh, would you do the honors of welcoming?
Welcome everyone to this evening of two ancient ceremonies. Trudy's head student completion ceremony, followed by Catherine's head student entering ceremony. Your presence and support are much appreciated. The evening will begin with Trudy's head student completion ceremony. During this ceremony, Trudy will respond to questions from senior students. During the evening, we will also recite the Heart Sutra and the Bodhisattva vows, for which you have copies, so you can participate in reciting the verses at that time. To begin the first ceremony, Flint and Trudy are going to offer incense. Flint first as our teacher, followed by Trudy as head student.
We'll now chant together the Heart Sutra. As our microphones remain muted, you'll be able to hear my voice and you can join it. This is the Sutra of the Heart of Realizing Wisdom Beyond Wisdom. Avalokiteshvara, who helps all to awaken, move in the deep course of realizing wisdom beyond wisdom, sees that all five streams of body, heart, and mind are without boundary, and frees all from anguish. O Shariputra, who listens to the teachings of the Buddha, form is not separate from boundlessness. Boundlessness is not separate from form. Form is boundlessness. Boundlessness is form. Feelings, perceptions, inclinations, and discernment are also like this. O Shariputra, boundlessness is the nature of all things. It neither arises nor perishes, neither stains nor purifies, neither increases nor decreases. Boundlessness is not limited by form, nor by feelings, perceptions, inclinations, or discernment. It is free of the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind, free of sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, and any object of mind, free of sensory realms, including the realm of the mind. It is free of ignorance and the end of ignorance. Boundlessness is free of old age and death, and free of the end of old age and death. It is free of suffering, arising, cessation, and path, and free of wisdom and attainment. Being free of attainment, those who help all to awaken abide in the realization of wisdom beyond wisdom, and live in an unhindered mind. Without hindrance, the mind has no fear. Free from confusion, those who lead all to liberation embody profound serenity. All those in the past, present, and future who realize wisdom beyond wisdom manifest unsurpassable and thorough awakening. Know that realizing wisdom beyond wisdom is no other than this wondrous mantra, luminous, unequaled, and supreme. It relieves all suffering. It is genuine, not illusory. Set forth this mantra of realizing wisdom beyond wisdom. Set forth this mantra which says, Gate, Gate, Para Gate, Para Samgate, Bodhi, Swaha. For those of you unfamiliar with this ceremony, Trudy is incensing the book from which she'll read her koan for reflection.
Shio knows no water, no moon. Shiono was a servant in a Zen convent who wanted to practice Zazen. One day she approached an elderly nun and asked, I'm of humble birth, I can't read or write and must work all the time. Is there any possibility I could attain the way of Buddha even though I have no skills? The nun answered her, this is wonderful, my dear. In Buddhism, there is no distinction between people. There is only this. Each person must hold fast to the desire to awaken and to cultivate a heart of great compassion. People are complete as they are. If you don't fall into delusive thoughts, there is no Buddha and no sentient being. There is only one complete nature. If you want to know your true nature, you need to turn toward the source of your delusive thoughts. This is called Zazen. Shiono said with happiness, with this practice as my companion, I have only to go about my daily life, practicing day and night. After months of wholehearted practice, she went out on a full moon night to draw some water from the well. The bottom of her old bucket, held together by bamboo strips, suddenly gave way, and the reflection of the moon vanished with the water. When she saw that, she attained great realization. Her realization poem was, with this and that I tried to keep the bucket together, and then the bottom fell out. Where water does not collect, the moon does not dwell.
now hear the head student.
This is the Dharma staff, 5 feet long. Once a black serpent on Vulture Peak, it became the Udambara flower. At Shaolin Temple, it bursts forth the 5 petals of Zen. Sometimes it is a dragon, swallowing heaven and earth. Sometimes a Vajra sword, giving and taking life. This staff is now in my hands. Though a mosquito biting an iron bull, I cannot give it away. Dragons and elephants, give me your questions.
Mary Oliver says, "My work is to love the world. How can we deepen our love for the world through our practice?"
The world loves you, you just have to let it come towards you. And you'll feel the love of the world, and then you'll love the world more.
Trudy, one of the many things I appreciate about you is your generous heartedness to people with difficult conditioning. I noticed that with 2 people, a friend of mine and the husband of a friend of mine, I moved between being quite combative and dissing them in my mind. What practice advice can you give me to help me move in a more open-hearted direction?
I wonder if you could cultivate a generous heart towards yourself as a way of seeing your own conditioning and how that impacts on you, so that you can see that whatever is unfolding in front of you is just people taking care of themselves, as you do, as I do. Thank you.
Hello, Trudy. As your Benji, I was invited to write some poetry. I found it a challenging and enriching experience. How can I use poetry to help me express and explore myself more?
Something about allowing that you already have the wisdom of those words, and that it's about removing any barrier inside to the creativity that just wants to flow out of you, that just wants to connect with all of that beauty that there is in the world. So there's something about not seeing it as an intellectual exercise, but just noticing what touches your heart, what calls something forward, and allowing that to express itself.
Judy?
Yes?
Jan, do you have the poem?
I do.
Would you mind reading it now?
Oh, wow.
Forward.
Um,
I apologize for the interruption a bit. It would be read in the ceremony anyway, and since you're bringing it up, this is a beautiful time to offer it.
okay.
And you get a chance to embody what you're asking.
Okay. I have it here somewhere. I feel really different sharing it this time. It's entitled Not Just an Old Trainer. This is something Trudy has called herself. Not just an old trainer, but once one of a pair of old trainers until Ginny had to take her leave. She continues on her Comey legacy that Ginny began, sharing her knowledge, her skill, her realness, both her ordinariness and her extraordinariness, offering what's nourishing and what's been missed. Not just a therapist, but a companion on the path of life, touched by others' suffering and willing to be alongside them in their pain. It's best to hold hands, Trudy says, when you're scared. She touches hearts and spirits, offering healing through her loving presence. Not just a friend, but a spiritual friend, offering divine friendship, where there's no need for us to weigh thoughts and measure words, but free to pour them out, chaff and grain alike, offering acceptance that others struggle to offer to themselves, always there with a tender touch or a heartfelt hug. Not just a poetry lover, but a poet, always ready with an offering from her beloved Mary, Rumi, White, and others. She writes, "How do you know that life loves you? Life does not turn away from us. It touches us all, not holding anything back. Not just a girl, but not a boy, not a squirrel, but a passionate woman intent on ending suffering, offering understanding and her own vulnerability, sharing and inspiring others through her own journey to wholeness. Not just a Buddhist, not even a head student or susho, but a goddess, fierce and strong, yet tender and caring, offering wise words that even put Vimalakirti in his place. Ready for tea and a chat, as long as there's cake. Relationship is everything. Really, we're just walking each other home. Thank you.
Trudy, I just wanted to think about your grandmotherly mind that I have so often received and recognized. And I'm very aware that last year I became a grandmother again. And this year you become a grandmother again. And one of the questions that I wanted to ask you was, from my current eye of practice, how can I offer my grandchildren the essentials of being here in this embodied human life?
I think children learn by what they see. And if you show yourself to them wholeheartedly and beautifully and truly as you show the world, then they will learn that without you having to say a single thing.
Thank you.
Hi, Trudy. I'm curious about your journey as head student, and I'm wondering what surprised you the most that you've learned during this time in the role.
Thank you. I've really enjoyed it. I think I was concerned about how I would differentiate between being a therapist and being a head student, and I think my experience of there's something about the threshold. When you cross the threshold into the role kind of speaks to you in a way that it doesn't when you're not there. So there's something about that sense of actualized by the myriad things. It's like the role invites something to come forward that I didn't know about or expect, and it's been such a pleasure and an honor to sit in this seat, and a lot of opportunities for me to explore how often I fail. So I think that that was no surprise, but the other thing was a surprise of the deep pleasure of offering service and holding the Sangha in my heart. Thank you.
I turned over for quite a long time the thought of a question, and came to the realization that I really don't have a question. And paradoxically, actually, that itself brought a question about the tension between being honest and congruent and saying, in this ceremony, I don't have a question, and sort of on the other hand, just following the form and finding a question to ask. And that formed a question in my mind.
And I have a question back, which is, how does it feel right now to sit there being yourself without a question?
I'm really glad to just sit here with nothing to, just being here, yes.
I'm really glad you're sitting there. I don't have an answer.
That's a lovely answer, thank you.
My question bears on an aspect of your practice that I've long admired and been grateful for. What I'm talking about is all the beautiful things that you do with flowers in the Zendo, on Instagram, and elsewhere, you know, from the pictures I see from gardens and things. It's always been something of a mystery to me, that sort of thing. So my question very simply is, what do the flowers say?
I think for me they are something about the whole of life. So everything is there, everything's encapsulated all the time, the growth and the blossoming and the fading and the dying, and the fact that They won't always do what you want them to do, whatever idea you have about it. And that they have their own life. And so for me, being with them is like letting them kind of tell me what they want to do and me telling them kind of what I'd like them to do, and seeing if we can kind of reach some harmonious place. So I think it feels like dancing with life, and they just happen to be really beautiful too.
They're certainly beautiful.
Thank you.
My question is, how can I find a middle way between not being attached to the outcome of my actions and still nurturing the energy to try to have an impact in the world in a positive way?
I wonder how broad your middle way is. I wonder whether narrow that line is, and if the middle way could be a really generous, broad place where you can rest and do what you need to do and take action, so that they aren't two separate things. That you rest when you're taking action and you let go of the outcome as you do it as well. So it's one activity.
Thank you.
Do you have any comments or reflections?
How lovely to see my friends, and what it kind of points to all the time is this, us trying to get out of the way really of ourselves in just being here, being wholeheartedly here, being fulsomely here, however we are, and something that comes from that. And I would like to, when I read the koan, I wrote a poem, which I've read before, but I thought in a way it kind of is my comment.
Well, and this is your comment on the case.
Called The Moon in the Bucket. The staves are broken. The precious ancient water bucket has broken. The one that I mended again and again because I couldn't let it go. All the work and time and effort and hope and prayer and desperation and trying so very hard have failed. I tried to hold it all together. Glue, duct tape, spit, elbow grease, love, hate, prayer, despair. They too failed. I believed it had to hold forever. Hold together for my pride, for my ego, for necessity, for life, for death. For otherwise everything would fall apart. It failed. It fell apart. The staves split and the water spilt. It could hold the moon no more. In the failure came wholeness, the pure relief of failure, the moon now in the sky. How does it start? Thank you. Through the support of my teacher and all of you here, I have been head student. I'm deeply grateful for your help, but I have not been worthy. Please forgive me. My mistakes fill heaven and earth and leave no room to hide. Friends, if my actions and words have misled you in any way, please bathe your ears in the pure sound of the present, and please continue your practice. Avowing my limitations, I will continue my practice diligently. Thank you very much. This staff has been in my hand. I return it to you. Water returns to the source.
This is the segment of the ceremony in which people offer their congratulations. And Josh, would you mind bringing your chair into the screen enough so we could see you? And if you wouldn't mind beginning by offering your congratulations to your teaching partner, life partner, all those things. And you can turn toward her if you like, of course. Just speak up so we can hear you.
Well, firstly, I'd like to congratulate you on this evening and the richness of this experience while I was sitting witnessing everything that you offered, the Sangha, which was emblematic really of the year and a half you've had, which has included the coronavirus as well, and learning to be head student through online technology, as well as previously with one-to-one, face-to-face contact. And I have so enjoyed and appreciated and learned so much from from being with you during that year, with all of its joys and challenges. So a heartfelt congratulations and appreciation.
Thank you.
Thank you. And my congratulations as well, Trudy. Your grace and steadfastness at all times, but demonstrated in this ceremony, is quite inspirational and humbling. Your responses were clear and beautiful, and it's not an evaluation of your responses, it's just the way it landed in me, and I'm sure in others. And that seems to be your gift, the way to come forward and meet people, even in this unusual situation with this unusual way that we have to be together. I'm very pleased personally that the two of you are in the same room, since none of the rest of us can be in rooms together, and that you have a warm hand to reach out to you, and a warm hand towards whom you can reach, so that the staff can be transferred, and you can feel that connection. Thank you for hanging in there for so long. It's very much longer than we normally, it's a long gestation period for this. So thank you again for your commitment which is shared between you and Josh in maintaining the local Sangha and how it has grown, and its growth and the way that it's flourished is an expression, a reflection really, of your commitment, the two of you, and how it's evolved over time. And thank you for the ways in which you both care about and respond to all of the other sanghas under the Just This umbrella, the consortium of interwoven families, the different clans across the UK that practice together. And since I am not there very often, and now even less, I trust you as one of my senior people who can stand in my stead at times and help out in places that need help. Mainly, I say thank you, and I bow to you and offer my deepest congratulations. This is the point in the ceremony in which Sangha members and the audience would also offer their congratulations. But alas, we are on this medium, and since it would be a bit cumbersome to make that happen, this is what I'm encouraging all of you who are listening to reach out to Trudy through whatever medium you have at your disposal and enjoy using, to offer your heart back to her in your congratulations following this ceremony, since we won't be able to do it in the ceremony itself. But I did want to acknowledge that this is a time when we would be hearing from people individually about their congratulations for your being his student, and much, much more. We will now offer the merit of this ceremony. We offer the merit of this ceremony for the welfare of all beings everywhere. May all be relieved of suffering, free from fear, longing, aversion, and ignorance. And may we, together with all beings, realize the awakened way. And now we will chant the Bodhisattva vow. Beings are numberless. I vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to end them. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. Buddha's way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody it. Beings are numberless. We vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible. We vow to end them. Dharma gates are boundless. We vow to enter them. Buddha's way is unsurpassable. We vow to embody it. Beings are numberless. This vow frees them all. Delusions are inexhaustible. This vow ends them all. Dharma gates are boundless. This vow enters them all. Buddha's way is unsurpassable. This vow embodies it. And I will say that this vow expresses the essence of our practice and is the container in which one steps into the role of head student. And it's what Trudy meant when she said she can feel that threshold and crossing. And this is the vow that names that threshold. We will, I will do bows to complete this portion. Josh will have another bridge statement, and we'll have a short break before the next ceremony. Please don't exit from your connection on Zoom. Just simply know that there'll be a 5-minute wait, which Josh will speak about.
So we will now have a 5-minute interval to have a break and to come back in 5 minutes' time for Catherine's head student entering ceremony. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.